we still have carpeting where the computers are positioned at the moment because we needed to get the desks up with the computers on it before the contractor got here. Okay, there was another contract I wanted to do. 38. And where is 38? Oh, I don't know. So we went across 13. It looks like... Okay, we go back out that way. We turn right and there's a gate through there. I hope. We shall find out. Wheel and pedal I use, I think, is the G29. It's the Logitech that goes with the PlayStation. I think that's the 29. Originally I used the Farm Sim wheel and side panel from Cytec, and the wheel broke, and so I called up their support and they sent me a new wheel, and that broke in an identical fashion to the first one. And at that point I bought the G29. I found the G29, it's a little pricey, but it's a good wheel. It hasn't given me any problems. Oh, no gate. Okay. Oh, I might consider doing that, but right now we still have carpet in the house, and so I need that. I need that gone before I start trying to filter the air, because obviously they're going to be ripping up the carpet when we get the computers moved, and that's going to add a whole lot more dander to the air. Doesn't look like I can get through. Where am I going? 38. Well, it is on the other side of this field, so... This looks hopeful. Yay! Okay, well that wasn't so painful. It's a bit round the houses to get to, but that is 38. That's the field I want to treat. So let's line this tractor up and get going. Again, I did fit with this tractor with GPS, because obviously as the crop grows it gets harder to get a good coverage on it. But for right now I can probably do this by eye. Missing the left edge, but it's somebody else's field and I get paid for 95% of it. And also I have the Dyson air purifying fan, which is doing a wonderful job in the bedroom. I get a fairly good night's sleep as far as breathing goes. As far as pain in my shoulders goes, that's not so good. And I do have an appointment with the doctor next week. This coming Friday, I have to go to the doctor and say, hi, my shoulder is killing me, I'm not getting any sleep. What can you do to fix it? Some nights I'm waking up every hour from pain. Other nights I can get 4 or 5 hours straight, wake up and then get 2 or 3 more. But you need your sleep. And it reoccurs every few years. I had a motorcycle accident back in '93. Nothing got broken, but the soft tissue got quite badly strained and stretched and pulled, and since then I think the bike was off the road for 2 months getting fixed, and I rode it for about 6 months after I got it back, but the whole vibrations through the shoulder just irritated it, something chronic, so I had to give up motorcycling and bought a car. They don't, I don't know. They haven't been able to narrow it down. They won't operate on it because, at least up until recently, I've had 100% mobility in the shoulder, and they don't want to go in and start poking things because I could end up with a completely frozen shoulder, and they don't want to break something. They couldn't fix. There was nothing in manoeuvrability to fix. It was all pain. But more recently, it's got to the point where I can't put my shoulder above my head. Washing my hair is difficult. I have to bend my head down because I can only reach up using my elbows. My shoulders are 90 degrees to or parallel to the floor. And so now I have motion issues, but it's not physical motion issues, it's pain motion issues. I can't raise my shoulder higher than that because it's too painful. Not because the muscles and the tendons don't let me move it above there. So, and every 4 years I go and consult a doctor over it and see what they say about it this time. And they basically boiled it down to, well, it's kind of old age, but it was sort of rapid aging because of the damage it sustained, and because of the pain in my shoulder, I was preferring the right arm and hand for all my work, and obviously now that has aged as well, so my right shoulder is giving me about as much grief as the left one is now. And of course I'm getting generally old, so my hips are now a problem as well. Because you compensate for things in different ways. If you've got pain in your left shoulder, you'll favour your right arm. But that's going to age your right arm faster than normal. And so you start favouring doing certain things with your legs which you probably shouldn't, and then that causes your legs to wear out faster than they should. It's called life, and we're all going to suffer from it somehow eventually. Mrs. Osa's having eggs for breakfast. But Mrs. Osa's up kind of early today. I'm still following this line okay. It's kind of difficult to tell. Well, I'm doing okay. So there's a little bit of an overlap there, but it's not significant enough to worry about wastage of fertilizer. Yeah, if we come back to this field later, it's going to have grown a bit, and at that point it's going to be much harder to follow where you've already been. And it's at that point I start using GPS to guide the rows a little better. You get a little bit more wastage at the edge of the field because there's usually a stretch that you can't cover adequately. But for the centre part of the field, you're not just getting lost and going over the same point over and over again. Two big tractors, I also put GPS on for pretty much the same reason. You're doing ploughing and cultivating, seeding, and you don't want to waste your seed. And without fertilizer, or with our seeder, it also has fertilizer in, so I kind of want to get as good a coverage as possible. I did query the seeder I eventually used. I'm using a 12-meter Amazon seeder, but it's a mod, and it cultivates seeds and fertilizes in one pass, and it plants every single seed. I thought that's a bit odd, but there is an in-game seeder that doesn't cultivate but does plant every seed and fertilizes at the same time. But it turns out the one I'm using is only available in the US. But I've bought it now, and it's, I think, the 4th seeder I've bought for this playthrough, so we're going to stick with it, even though it's a tad unrealistic for the location we're in. I started out trying the 2 seeders in the horse aggravation pack, and they had big problems manoeuvring, and one of them danced around the barn, got stuck in the corner with the tongue in the corner. And sort of, yeah, that's not working too well. I have not pre-ordered it, but I think I do plan to get it. Although it's a bit like I don't know. The justification for it isn't so much there. Although, more like the big bud pack. I bought that first time out, and I didn't use a lot of that because it's big farm equipment, and I don't do I don't play big farms very often. If I do play big farms, they're usually private farm rather than a streamed farm. But I get fed up with them so quickly because it just takes so long to get any of the work done. The sort of, I've been at this harvest. It's like doing a potato harvest on field 5 in Goldcrest. It only takes about 8 hours to do it, and I did that once as a contract, and it's sort of I'm not doing that again because you can't save the game on contracts on FS19. But playing 4 or 5 farm sim sessions just farming the same thing on the same field. I mean, you'll have seen that on was it the Ohio map that Arthur was playing, where he had something like 8 streams of just harvesting the field. And that gets kind of boring very quickly. Plus, as a starting farmer, you can only afford 1 or 2 fields. Now, you make a ton of cash because obviously the fields are so big. Field 17, where's that? Oh, that's our favourite little field over there that we always do. I suppose we could do that one. Yeah, I think we've pretty much done all the fertilisation on 17. Plus it's a potato field, so we can since it's a potato field, we can follow the lines fairly well on it. So yes, I will probably get the DLC, although from my mind it's probably equipment I'm not going to make much use of. And the John Deere 9RX, you can get that as a mod. Now there's also, I think someone suggested that I do a multiplayer stream, a multiplayer stream, which is something I have been considering, but obviously, middle of moving home and everything else, I kind of want to be settled in before I get down to doing anything like that. But a multiplayer stream? Go through there. I think I might do. Big equipment can be a little bit more useful, but then the downside of multiplayer streaming with DLC is not everybody necessarily has the DLC you're playing with. Yeah, see, I don't use weeders. That's kind of a problem for me, is... Oh, I am so undecided. Should I go and refill the fertilizer tank? Yeah. Yeah, that was indecision. Should I go left of the tree, right of the tree, or... Oh, well, let's just ram it. Because I missed the farm truck. Was this the place I'm supposed to go down? I'm not sure. Yes, it is. There's the tree in the way. But with Farm Sim 17, I didn't get the Roper DLC because I didn't see anything of benefit. I hardly ever do. Well, in Farm Sim 17, I never did potatoes after I did a potato contract on Goldcrest when I first started. Harvesting contract, that is. I only did beets when I was breeding pigs and I needed beets to feed the pigs. And that was literally find a small field, do beets, and we're done. But Farm Sim 19, I have done a little bit more potatoes and beets, but I still like the what is it? The grimy potato stuff, obviously, and oh, that's grimy as well. What's the that's grimy. The beet technology is a Homer. So yeah, I tend to use the Homer. If it's big, a lot of the time I just stick to the small stuff. I'm gonna put probably about 1200 into the tank. Timed right. Close enough. And so having effectively what I looked at it as yellow pieces of equipment that do the same thing as the red pieces of equipment that are already in the base game, and I never do those crops anyway, so why do I want the yellow ones? So I didn't buy that DLC. For 17. Obviously it was included in 19, and I bought a Roper potato harvester once and then figured that you still need, let's go back to it, stop, because I could only afford the tractor hauled stuff. So potatoes, yeah. This thing here tops and harvests. This thing here harvests only, so you have to top the potatoes first. And running that round the field takes the tops off the potatoes, which then means you can use a standard sort of 200-220 horsepower tractor to haul this thing around. Oh, actually even less than that. It's only 110. Okay, so 150 horsepower tractor even. But you don't have to put narrow tyres on it, so you don't have a traction issue hauling this around the field. You don't have to do this, use these both at the same time. And I don't, because this is a 2-head harvester, and this is a 3-metre topper. So I put this on a 110 horsepower tractor, run around the field taking all the tops off the potatoes, and then run around with a bigger tractor harvesting the potatoes. Now this is a single pass, but if you don't have narrow tyres on your tractor, you kill half the potatoes that you're trying to harvest. So not particularly impressed with that on its own. So still never, I bought the Roper, killed half my potatoes in the first field. At least, well, I didn't kill half of them, but I drove onto the field and found I was killing potatoes and not harvesting them. So I sold it and got the grimy harvester, which, and topper, which meant I managed to harvest all the rest of the potatoes on the field without killing them. But that goes back to part of the problem with Farm Sim DLC versus something like ETS, ATS, or Train Sim World, in that the games are not... When you buy a new version of the game, you're not making your old DLC obsolete. With Truck Sim, obviously, you don't have to buy a new version of the game. You just get the game updates free. With Train Sim and Train Sim World, you don't have to buy the game, and the only advantage you have buying the game every year is the 3 maps that are packaged with it each successive year. You get the game program updates free of charge. So there are years I haven't bought an update for Train Sim. Then there's other years I've gone and said, well, you know what, there's 3 new maps on this one and I like 2 of them, so I'm gonna buy I'm gonna buy the game because 2 of the maps is what, about $40 I think for it. It might be more, it might be about $30 for a map, and the game is $40. So if only one of the maps interests you, you might as well just buy the map. But if 2 maps interest you, buy the new year. And Joey, thank you for the follow and welcome to the stream. And but with Farm Sim, because a new version of Farm Sim what is a WIP? VIP. I don't know. I really need to investigate how Twitch works. Oh, where are we going here? So anyway, what are we doing? So yeah, the problem with at least the late DLCs that Giants releases for Farm Sim, you really start questioning, is it worth buying? The Roper DLC, I just knew I wasn't going to use any of it. And while it was a cheaper DLC than the rest in 17, it was, I don't need this, and I can't justify it because the game's got 6 months till the new release comes out. And I'd much rather spend my money on Farm Sim 19 at that time than I can justify buying a DLC pack that's only got 6 months left to play, and I'm not going to put much use into it. Oh, now this field we are going to do with GPS, because I can't see what I'm doing. I am from the UK, actually just outside London, so that's why I would sound like similar to Daggerwin. However, I do live in Michigan, and I am an American citizen now, so slight difference there. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if